So, good evening, guys. I've just finished some editing for this evening, and I thought I'll just have a quick look at my emails before I go to bed. And I've got an email in there from Sunday, and it's from a gentleman called Craig, and he is talking about his A7 IV camera. And I'll come back to that in a second. When I had the A7R4, and you may have seen some of the videos I've put up about it, we had quite a few issues with the autofocus, and it was mostly with the 200 to 600 lens via Sony. Sony reckon they couldn't find anything wrong with it, whatever. So I sort of took it into my own hands and met up with a couple of other photographers that I knew of on Facebook or whatever, who also had the A7R4 and also the 200 and 600. And we were trying to work out what the hell was going on, because mine was not working right. Nick's was fine. I think Robert's as well. But eventually we tried reinitialization a few times. That seemed to make it better, but it did come back, the issue, quite quickly. So it was very frustrating. So much so, I sold the 200 to 600 thinking it possibly might be the lens. Obviously it wasn't, it was actually the camera. So eventually I decided I will go Sony A1, and a completely different bit of kit. I kind of missed the A7R4 because it was a little bit special, but at the same time, it is what it is sometimes, and you just have to, do something else, But a friend Sean, who is from South Australia, another photographer, really nice guy, he is also an A7R4 user. And guess what? Same situation. So he sent his off for warranty service via the Sony Service Centre, which is in South Australia. He said I'm just reading what he's told me. Digicam, which is the Sony warranty service agent in South Australia. He says he was really struggling with the accurate autofocus on the 200 to 600 and even on the 100 to 400 G Master, but zero issues on his A1. However, the Sony Service Centre says they apparently found nothing physically wrong with the camera at all, but reset everything to factory specifications and uninstalled and reinstalled the latest firmware. When he's got it back, he said he wasn't expecting anything miraculous. He just thought, I'm just going to have to sell it and then do something else. But to his great surprise, with the 200 and 600, the images are now spot on, razor sharp. And he said, I might even mention that I even had the 1.4 times teleconverter attached as well. It's a completely different camera now. So that's really good. But it makes me think, and back to Craig, he's basically done the same thing. It's a different situation because his eye autofocus wasn't working correctly and other things like that he was saying. And he has basically sent it off for warranty. He said he really loves the camera and he was just a bit pissed off that it wasn't focusing right. Stumbled across my video about it, and he thought, but by then he'd also sent it, by then he'd actually sent it away before he saw my video, and he's obviously just bored waiting to get a camera back. So he's been looking on YouTube or whatever and the internet, trying to find any information, blah, 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 blah. But he's now got it back, which he got back, I think it was on Friday. And it's had a very similar situation. Couldn't find anything wrong physically, whatever, done tests and everything like that. And they have literally, obviously, wiped off the software and reinstalled the firmware back on. And he says it works absolutely brilliantly. So is it what we're thinking? Software related? Bad installs? Sometimes you get a bad install on your phone, don't you? Sometimes you get a bad install on your PC or your Mac or whatever, and you might have to reinstall something because it hasn't gone quite right. So is that down to hardware being an issue? Like a glitch in the hardware on the cameras, some of the cameras? Because we know it's not all of the cameras. It's been a handful of the A7R4 and it's been a handful of the A7 IV as well, causing different sorts of issues, but are very similar at the same time. So just a thought, I just thought, wow, that's quite incredible that, you know, it's kind of possibly something as simple as a reinstall of the software. So let me know if you have had the similar situation. Have you sent yours in for repair because your autofocus isn't quite right on an A7R4 or an A7 IV, and if it's been fixed? It's just a thought, and I just thought I'd put it out there for anybody who has got the issue. Maybe it is worthwhile sending it in for warranty purposes for them to look at it, a Sony service centre to look at it and to see if they can just reinstall the firmware. It could be that simple. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know if it's the the real answer to this problem, but it seems very two people, two different cameras, and it sorted both of them out. I spoke to Sean this evening. Literally just spoke to him now, and he said, "I said, how's the camera going? Have you, He said, absolutely brilliant." So I've just said to him about receiving another email, and it looks like it's possibly software related. And he says it does seem like it, doesn't it? But like I say, we're not the scientists or the engineers, who do this stuff. So it's just a thought. But let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the little notification bell as well. Thinking back quickly, obviously Sony have said to some of the A7 IV owners that there is a firmware coming, a new firmware update or some sort coming, but I don't know when. And that's maybe why they realised that it just needs a software update to reinstall itself properly. So I don't know when that's coming. That was just something I was told also by another viewer who had an email from Sony. So anyway, I'll leave it to you. Like I say, leave some comments below. I'll see you soon.